Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today I am doing a book haul. Now for anyone who's going to say, well, in your birthday book haul you said you weren't going to buy any more books. Yeah, I know, but I changed my mind. So here we are. The first book that I have is A Duke by Default by Alyssa Cole. This is the second book in her Reluctant Royal series. If you remember, I did read A Princess in Theory, which is the first book in the series a little while ago, and I almost loved it, but there were just certain things that the characters did. Deception, lies, lack of communication. Y'all know how I feel about all that. So I rated it above 4 stars, but it wasn't one of my best books. I hope that I'm gonna like this one. However, I'm pretty sure the main character in this is Portia, who is Naletti's best friend, and I hated her in A Princess in Theory, so I'm really not sure how this is gonna work out, but I'll try to go into it with an open mind and see how it goes. The next book that I have is My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyukan Braithwaite. I have heard mixed things about this, but serial killer is kind of a buzzword for me now, and I don't know what that says about me. But anyway, from what I know, this is literally about a woman whose sister is a serial killer and keeps killing the men that she's dating or something, but then the sister ends up developing a crush on someone, and then the sister starts dating that same person and maybe is planning to kill him. I'm not really 100% sure because of course I didn't read the synopsis, but I was actually in Barnes & Noble with my dad's girlfriend and she was like, I saw this and I thought of you, so I bought it. The next book that I have is The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. I am so excited to read this one. Hopefully I'll get to it soon. From my understanding, this is about a woman who's like super badass scientist and she has managed to create a clone of herself. The clone starts dating her ex-husband or something, and then husband ends up dead. I don't really need to know more than that. That sounds good enough to me, so I'm excited to get to it. The next book that I have is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. This is a beloved book on Booktube, and I'm a little late to the game, but I'm really excited. I happened to see it in Barnes & Noble when I also got My Sister the Serial Killer, so I am excited to start this. Side note, can we stop putting stickers on books? This is like, oh, it's an exclusive edition, cool. But can we not do stickers? Or can we do stickers that are easy to peel off? Now I'm gonna have to really sit down and focus on this. But anyway, from my understanding, this is about a young Latinx boy who wants to prove to his family that he's a real brujo. To do that, he decides to perform this ritual so that he can communicate with the ghost of his cousin who was recently murdered, but he ends up finding the wrong ghost. And the ghost doesn't want to leave. He has some unfinished business, wants to figure out how he died or something like that. And I guess there's supposed to be romance in it. I don't really know, but we'll see. The next book that I have is The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. I did have this pre-ordered. I'm really excited to find out what exactly goes on in here. So originally I was under the impression that the main character performs this blood ritual that seems like a rite of passage to determine whether or not she's going to be a member of her village. If her blood runs red, she gets to stay. If her blood runs gold, it means she's impure, and the consequence is supposed to be something worse than death, I think is how people have described it. So obviously her blood runs gold, and then someone tells her, come with me and I can take you to a place for girls that are just like you. However, I had a brief conversation with Ashley from Bookish Realm and she said it's really intense and kind of heavy, and I was not expecting that at all. So I'm glad that I had a little conversation with her, because if I went into this totally blind, not knowing that, I would have been completely confused and a little blindsided. So I'm not apprehensive to start. I'm still really excited to read it, but I'm interested to see the elements of this that I was not expecting and did not anticipate. But we'll see how it goes. I think this is gonna be a really good one. The next book that I have, I did display on Instagram, but I have not officially on BookTube, and looking at it just makes me so happy. I got my first collector's edition, and it is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I mean, just look at it. It's so pretty. Sprayed edges, which the regular ones do have too, but this one also has illustrations that are, I mean, look at Kaz and Inej. I love it. I kind of don't like that she's in the menagerie costume, but fine. So yeah, I'm debating if I want to get the Cricket Kingdom one just because I didn't love Cricket Kingdom as much as I did Six of Crows, and apparently I have an unpopular opinion there. Most people like Cricket Kingdom better. I just felt like in Six of Crows, the plot was very like, we're all doing this one thing. We need to get into the ice court. Yeah, there were a few subplots, but everything flowed. And I did still enjoy Cricket Kingdom, but I felt like everyone had their own plot, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just felt like it wasn't as cohesive as Six of Crows, but that's just me. And I saw the Shadow and Bone one. It's really nice, but I'm not getting that. And I probably won't get King of Scars either. The next book that I have is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is a mystery from what I know. Again, never read the synopsis, but I think a bunch of people get invited to a wedding, and in the beginning, you know someone dies. You just don't know who, and you don't know who did it. Sounds good. I'm intrigued. It's really all I need. But again, can we stop with the stickers? And this one's not even like a peel off. It's just one that's embedded in the cover. I hate that. The next book that I have, I did previously mention in another video, but I'm still gonna include it here. It is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I mentioned this in another video because it literally took forever for me to get my hands on this. Couldn't find it at my bookstore, bought it online, took forever to ship, got delayed in the process, but it's finally here. So I don't know much about the Arthurian legend, so I'm gonna have to look that up before I go into this. But from what I know, the main character, I think her name is Bree, she goes to this school, some magical creature attacks in front of her, and apparently she's not supposed to be able to see it, but she can, so then she enters the secret society and things happen from there. Also, her mother was killed, and it turns out that the secret society might be connected to her mother's death, so yeah, maybe. Possibly. Honestly, I've been hearing some mixed things. I think some people struggle with some of the things that happen early on. Some people say you have to get to like 50% or so for it to get really good. So I'm interested to see where I fall on this. Hopefully I will read this soon. I know I say that about all of these, but we'll see. The next book that I have is Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. I know the sequel to this came out recently, and quite frankly, I don't actually know what it's about. But it doesn't really matter because it's fantasy, black girl magic on the cover, and I'm interested. The little tagline, I guess, is I once laughed at stories about demons. Now I know that one may walk in my shadow. I don't know what the hell that means, but I'm excited to find out. There is one more book that I'm waiting for that has not arrived yet. It is called The Reader. I don't remember the author, but I will put up a picture of it. I bought this book from Starla Reads. She was selling a bunch of her books on an app called Pango Books, which I did not know about, but now I do, and I will probably end up selling some of my books on there. But in this book, from what I read previously, I believe that the main character's father is killed, so she goes to live with her aunt, but then her aunt gets kidnapped. And the only thing that she can connect to her father's death and her aunt's kidnapping is a book. However, she lives in a society that is illiterate. So I don't know if she has been taught to read by her father and her aunt, or if she is going to teach herself or find someone to teach her so she can figure out what happened. But it sounded really good. I believe Anya said she really liked it, and I think it was on one of her underrated books videos. I think that's the gist of it. I'm not 100% sure, but sounded interesting and I'm ready to read it. So those are all the books that I've purchased recently. Let me know if you have read any of these or if any of them are on your TBR. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.